They say surviving a night outdoors takes hundreds of dollars in fancy gear, flashlights, tents, knives, and all that. But centuries before any of that existed, Native Americans slept under open skies, surrounded by wolves, bears, and freezing winds, and still made it through the night alive. They didn't just survive, they thrived, using nothing but what nature gave them. They knew how to track animals without leaving a trace, build warmth from nothing but dirt and fire, and even heal wounds with plants that most of us walk past every day. If civilization disappeared tomorrow, no electricity, no stores, no help, their ancient knowledge could mean the difference between life and death. And the best part? Many of those techniques still outperform modern survival tools today. So, how did they do it? Let's uncover 40 Native American survival secrets that could one day save your life. When everything's wet and your lighter won't work, nature still gives you what you need to start a flame. Natives used the friction bough, a dry piece of wood as a base, another as a spindle, and a fiber rope to spin it until smoke appeared. Slow process, but patience always beat panic. Strike stone against metal or another hard rock to create sparks, landing on dry moss or birch bark. Blow gently to ignite a live flame. That fire meant warmth, food, and safety, and once it was lit, they knew how to protect it. They surrounded the fire with big stones to control it. It kept wind from extinguishing the flames or spreading to the forest. Each stone absorbed heat and released it slowly, turning the campsite into a warm little island under the frozen sky. Not magic, camouflage. Bright clothes shout "human" from miles away, but mud and dust dull those colors. Covering skin with wet mud or ash served as natural camo and protected against insects. Hunters also wore animal skins, blending into the forest as if they were part of it. Walk slowly, almost silently. They learned to step on the outer foot first, then the heel, reducing the crunch of dry branches. The softer the step, the more life appeared, animals, streams, tracks. Everything revealed itself to those who moved with respect. Wind was an invisible ally. Animals smell before they see, so always positioning downwind made a human nearly invisible. This simple lesson decided who ate and who didn't. Shelter was a priority. Storms could kill faster than hunger. They mastered the lean-to, a strong branch between two trees, covered with dry leaves or bark. The thicker the layers, the better the insulation. In cold areas, they built dome-shaped shelters like small wigwams using flexible branches tied together, covered with leaves or hides to keep body heat even below zero. Never sleep next to a river, sudden floods could catch you off guard. They sought high, slightly sloped ground to avoid water pooling and stayed behind big rocks or fallen trees to shield from wind. Running streams were safer than ponds, but they still filtered the water. Sand and charcoal in a small hole, pouring water slowly, then heating it with hot stones. No metal pots needed, this killed bacteria effectively. When ropes broke, they didn't look for replacements, they made them. Yucca leaves or fresh bark strips twisted into strong cords for building shelters, tying tools, or hanging food out of animals' reach. A rope made of plants could hold amazing weight. Before metal, natives mastered flint knapping. Hitting obsidian or quartz with a harder rock created razor-sharp edges for hunting, cutting hides, and preparing food. Bones became needles, hooks, or spear tips. Sun and stars were guides. Sun rises east, sets west, at noon it points south. At night, find north via Polaris through the Big Dipper. Even vegetation helped, moss grows thicker on north side, flowers tilt south. Nature was their map. The ground told stories. Broken branches or fresh tracks indicated animal paths. Webs gave clues, broken ones meant a big animal passed recently. No need to see predators, listen. Birds going silent, squirrels chattering nervously meant a coyote or puma nearby. Forest had its own alarm system, and they knew how to read it. Mud camouflaged, blocked insect bites, shielded from sunburn, and insulated against cold wind. It was their universal protector. Not all berries were edible. Brightly colored ones often toxic. Dark, matte ones like blackberries or raspberries were safe. Pine nuts, roots, and soaked acorns provided nutrition. Every plant had a purpose: dandelion leaves for salad, roasted roots for tea. Nothing wasted. Patience was key. Before steel traps, they used sticks and stones to build simple traps, like cord loops on bush stems for rabbits or birds. But the real trick was knowing animal behavior. When deer drank, turkey passed, prey moved. Mind over muscle. Hooks made from cactus spines, bones, or shells. Nuddling, catching fish with hands in shallow water. Herbs sometimes clouded water to stun fish. No magic, just clever survival. Smoke acted as a natural fridge. Meat and fish hung over low fires, smoke removed moisture and killed bacteria. Pecans, dried meat, melted fat, berries, became long-lasting energy bars. Certain fires were just for protective smoke: sage, cedar, herbs. It repelled mosquitoes, disinfected shelters, and had spiritual purposes, cleansing both air and spirit. When it rained, they used animal fat on hides or skin to repel water. Sharing blankets preserved body heat. Dogs even joined for extra warmth. Animals and sky signs: low-flying birds meant humid air, ants closing entrances or loud crickets hinted at rain. Cloud shapes and air smells also gave warnings. Medicinal plants: banana leaves or fresh moss for cuts, willow bark tea for fever or pain. Aloe sap or fat ash mix calmed irritations. Knowledge of plants was life-saving. Panic was deadlier than cold. Breathing exercises, listening to forest sounds, meditative connection with surroundings. Knowing the land reduced fear. Cover footprints on stones or fallen branches, avoid breaking twigs, move barefoot or with grass. Minimal impact, nearly invisible to trackers. Birch inner bark or dry wood from hollow logs burns even when wet. Carrying a dry stone wrapped in hide guaranteed fire during rain. Insects like grasshoppers, larvae, termites provided protein, roasted to remove parasites, mixed with roots or dried fruit. Also collected algae, acorns, pine nuts, edible bark. The forest always offered if you knew where to look. Sticking a pole in the ground, shortest shadow indicated noon, helping calculate directions. Simple, yet vital. Used body heat or hot stones to dry wet garments slowly. Clever use of environmental heat. Smoke columns or stone piles: 3 meant help needed. Universal signals before maps or phones. Better visibility under moonlight than some with flashlights. Eyes adapted, moving silently guided by stars and touch of the ground. Nothing wasted: sharp stones for knives, straight sticks for spears, spines for needles, leather strips for rope. Bones turned into hooks, needles, arrowheads. Survival depended on skill, not gear. Silence was a tool. Listening to forest rhythms, controlling noise while walking, hunting, or communicating via gestures. Mud or certain clays reduced inflammation, stopped bleeding, or absorbed toxins. Scientific validation today, but back then, pure wisdom. In deserts or under blazing sun, they minimized daytime activity, rested in shade, and conserved energy for cooler hours. Clothing allowed airflow, covered head, and adapted to environment. Imagine losing yourself in the wild, remembering how to make fire with stones, read the wind, filter water, or find food. These aren't ancient tricks, they're lifelines. Because humans don't need to conquer nature, they need to remember they belong to it. 40 life-saving Native American survival tips. These aren't just old tricks, they're centuries of wisdom, honed by observation, patience, and respect for nature. If you take one thing away from this video, let it be this: survival doesn't start with gear, it starts with knowledge, awareness, and a connection to the world around you. If you found this video useful or inspiring, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on notifications so you won't miss any of our future adventures into the secrets of the wild. Remember, nature isn't the enemy, it's a teacher, a protector, and sometimes, your best friend. Stay curious, stay prepared, and most importantly, stay alive. Subscribe if you enjoyed the video.